After a win, we'll check in with our guy, John Keim, who writes for ESPN.com. He was there. Hey, John.
JK.
What up, guys?
How come JK doesn't have his own walk-up? He's on every Monday.
He needs one.
You need your own walk-up song, bro.
I will defer to you guys which song you want that to be.
Oh, okay.
What's the last concert you've been to?
What's that?
What's the last concert you attended?
Oh, last one, Springsteen in Baltimore.
Okay, we'll give him some.
All right, there. We'll give you some Springsteen.
Give you some Bruce.
Yeah.
We usually give that to Steve Sands, but he's only on a couple times a year. So we'll give you Bruce.
Like my favorite Springsteen one, obviously Born to Run, but Rosalita too. So like those,
Rosalita.
there's. I don't think you can go wrong with any of his songs for me.
Okay.
Those Jungle Land.
All right, next week
duly noted.
We'll get you on.
Duly noted. All right,
Bruce
so coming into this game, I was a little concerned. Obviously, they defensively, the Giants posed some problems there. They got a lot of young talent there. Thibodeau always seems to have a big game against us. They draft Abdul Carter, etc. They scored a bunch of points in the preseason, and you're like, I don't know, man. But defensively, wow, that was kind of the story for Washington, right? Kind of set the tone. And look, sure, the Giants aren't very good offensively, but man, that was great to see.
That's putting it kindly.
Yeah, that was great to see.
There was a couple of things. One, the year the Browns went 0-16 during the season, they were 3-0 in the preseason.
Yeah.
So it's why, and if you're playing your starters and other teams aren't, you better look pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one thing. That's a bad offense. However, the defense did exactly what they should, and they pretty much did. They looked like what we saw this summer in training camp. Not, and this offense, of course, is better than New York's, and missing with Terry and Noah Brown, but it's the way they played. You saw the disruption, and I think what was encouraging for them is the disruption came from multiple spots, especially on that front.
Mm-hmm.
Like Javon Kinlaw made big plays. Dorance Armstrong, who had a really good camp, continued that into the game. Obviously Deron Payne did a nice job. Dietrich Wise made plays. So I think that to me is where, they kept Bobby Wagner clean a lot of the game. Will Harris, a strong game. So I think there are a lot of newcomers who did well. And I think that's something that, listen, man, again, New York's offensive line is not very good, but they did what they should. So you don't take anything away from them,
right?
By any means, because again, it's what we've seen. And I think that they were also like the other part too, guys, like just watching it now, like their D line was versatile. Like they would use a lot of different sets last year, but shoot, they had one time they lined up in a 3-4 with Armstrong as one of the outside linebackers. He makes a tackle in space on the tight end. Like you don't see a lot of guys doing that, but that is, I think that ability to be versatile and some creativity, is some size up front. You can use big rush packages that can also handle the run. And so I think that's why it's different than last year, but it's what I thought it's what you saw. So just a continuation.
You touched on Dorance Armstrong twice there, and according to Next Gen Stats, he had 9 pressures yesterday.
Yeah,
so he was in that backfield throughout the game, and they had a bunch of tackles for losses along that line too.
Yeah, and that's again, it's what we saw this summer. And one of the things with Armstrong, and you notice him standing up a lot. He has done that in the past. Did not do it as much last year. I think there's a comfort level that comes with that. The coaches oftentimes leave it up to those guys. Like if in those situations, you want to stand up, you want to be on 3-point stance. But I think it provides him vision. He's talked about like it helps him just see things more laterally too. But saw him knifing through like in the goal line situation sometimes and doing things there. So it was all game. But again, he had a really good camp. And here the other thing sometimes too, like again, I'll go back to Deron Payne. There were a couple of times where he's getting double teamed. So you see a Kinlaw or someone else with a one-on-one and they were winning. And I think like that's also important as well because not enough wins versus one-on-ones in recent years.
Secondary, I thought, was really good as well. I mean, especially against Neighbors. Neighbors was targeted 12 times, only caught 5.
So they did a great job against him.
They did a really good job against him. Just talk about what you thought, especially with Lattimore and Amos.
Yeah, I mean, so last year with Neighbors, the first game, he had a big game.
Yeah, he did.
It was 82 yards after the catch. However, it was Mike Davis missing tackles.
Mm-hmm.
It was Benjamin St. Juste, but St. Juste actually wasn't that bad. It was mostly, he got beat on a cross, but it was Mike Davis missing tackles. The second game, they were much better against him. And this game, they were as well. It's not, the yards after the catch weren't there. I think both Amos and Lattimore are very good. I think the pressure in Wilson's face helped, but they did a good job against him. You weren't seeing him run free. And I think there was also a play, too. And I don't know if it's the exact same play, but it was similar. And I think it also leads to not just those two, but Mikey Samerstill. So there was a play last year in that first game where the Giants run like an action to the right? So Samerstill's like on the zone coverage on the right hand, on the defense's right side. So play's going away from him. Last year, he shoots to the middle of the field. Over aggressive doing that. And Neighbor sneaks behind the line and out to the flat and gets like a long run after the catch because nobody's there. This time, first of all, Dietrich Wise plays it well. He's in Wilson's face, but Sam still stays home. And even if he catches the ball, it's going to be a 2-yard loss. So it's just, I think I think the communication, the confusion that we saw a lot of times last year wasn't there. And so I think that helps as well. But you saw Quan Martin covering him at times too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the versatility with him, and it allowed what he can do allows you to play different sorts of looks as well. So yeah, a good job by a lot of guys against him.
Obviously, Jaden was dynamic, especially when he needed to be, especially with his legs. Made a couple nice throws, too, earlier. But a little off. I don't know if that was because Terry wasn't there and Noah went down. I don't know. Sometimes I felt like he held the ball a little too long, too. Need to get rid of it a little quicker. So I know that's all going to clean up. So that's kind of encouraging that they were still, able to generate 21 points. And we know they were far from their best game offensively.
I felt the same way after the game that, it's funny because even on my podcast, I talked about what I liked is that the offense, there's a lot of room for growth and it's there.
Yeah.
So they had 430 yards of offense, only 21. It's a little bit, in some ways, it reminded me a little bit of the game last year against the Giants that they won in the first game where they had, gobs of offense, but couldn't score a touchdown, the 6 field goals or 7, whatever it was. And, but you saw okay, they moved the ball all day, no punts that game. And so this time they moved the ball, but there were penalties, there were drops, there was timing that was off. And for whatever reason, whether it's not enough time together during the preseason, although some of the guys he was off to was with Ertz and Debo, whom he had a lot of time with. But I still think when you're playing at a faster pace that you haven't really, there's a difference between practice, preseason games, and then regular season games. And that, I think we saw that yesterday. But yeah, I think that's not something I'm worried about because it's something they did very well last year and he did very well. So I would agree. I think that's more encouraging that he throws for 233 yards, runs for 68, and we're thinking it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, thinking like a B. Give him like a B.
Yeah. No, and he made impact plays with his legs, and he had a couple really good throws and there or really good catches where sometimes the ball's going to be a little bit off, and your guy's got to help you out. So that's what not every ball is going to be perfect, so you still got to catch it. So, and I think they did a pretty good job of that. So, yeah, a lot of room for more. And I think, again, the fact that we've seen them do it is why it's okay, just an off day versus they're not.
Was that overthrow to McLaurin just based on just not practicing a lot this summer? Because he was wide open.
And he was wide open. And I think it was so much of an overthrow. I don't think it was just because of that.
Right.
Because that was really off. You know what I mean? So I just think it's one that 9 times out of 10 he's going to hit. And for whatever reason there he did. And could it be the timing? I think the timing I would see a little bit more on certain maybe communication on how you read a route and maybe a back shoulder versus a fade and things like that. But I don't know if that's the timing or not. But it certainly was off, and Terry only caught 2 passes.
Yeah.
I think there's a natural you got to get it back sort of situation with that.
John, were you more surprised by Bill leading the team with 82 yards rushing, or Rodriguez not dressing for the game?
I would more surprised, I guess, by Croskey-Merritt because I always thought it would be hard to keep 4 running backs active. You just don't do that often. They did it once last year. And now part of it was, again, like you only had 3 running backs on the 53 most of the year, but they still only did it once. And typically that's how it goes. So I wasn't surprised by that. I think the thing I would say with Croskey-Merritt, probably more surprised by that, but not, somebody's got to carry the ball. Maybe I would have said Jaden would have led it, right? But I think what was nice to see from him, and Anthony Lynn was talking about this the other day, like, there's obviously a lot to like about him. He likes X, Y, and Z, but you got to see it in the game. And now we have. And I think the patience that he runs with, but the vision he runs with is really, really good. And the other parts were there, right? But like just seeing that in a game situation against a good defense, and a very good front was, had to be extremely, an extremely good feeling for them. Even on on the touchdown, it's supposed to go inside. You get inside, but you run with patience, so it gets clogged. Guys get sucked in, and now you can bounce outside. So there's vision, quick cuts. But yeah, I was probably a little bit more surprised by that. Because I just thought it would be hard to keep 4 active.
Couple other things, just environment. What was it like? It wasn't that long ago where the Commanders' opening game wasn't a sellout,
right?
And now you've got a sellout. Apparently, they added seats. What was the environment like? And tell us, they honored Rick Snyder, which was great too. That was really nice. They did a lot of good things for Rick. They had his family at the game. First time his family could go to a game. And they put him up on the scoreboard, had some flowers at his feet with his credential. So a lot of really good things. And I'm just sorry for Rick that he wasn't there to see his picture on the scoreboard, for a retirement versus what happened. Very, very sad. But as far as the environment goes, and Rick was a great guy. You guys know that. But as far as the environment, there were obviously Giants fans there, not as many as there were before. I think they're doing a better job of monitoring some of those situations or dealing with those situations, I would say, where you're still going to see opposing fans, but you didn't see the ocean of blue behind the bench that you would have in previous years.
Well, you also have more passion here. I mean, right? So people are less likely to sell them.
Well, there's that, but I think there's other things involved with that too. But but I also think that you're right. They should be more excited about this. Last year, will you do exactly what you did last year? Who knows? But you have the quarterback. You have a good organization now. So I think people are going to buy into that more and show up, and just feel like they want to make the effort to go to a home game because it is an effort. But it was a good environment. So I think you'll start to see a change as far as some of the splits in the crowds and all that, which then leads to a better environment for sure.
Yeah, and they're doing all the right things. They honor Santana Moss at halftime. Yeah. I just think about the Darryl Green ceremony last year. It's like they nailed it, right? Whereas the previous regime would have a Sean Taylor installation and botch it, or announce the team name on the Today Show and just very underwhelming. And they'd send out wrong varsity jackets with the wrong dates.
Well, every time they messed up, they'd honor Sean Taylor again. It was kind of like, hey, we screwed up. Like, what can we do? Honor Sean Taylor. So that I think and it was there were a lot of and they weren't apologizing, but there was always a lot of, we messed up, we better do this, messed up. But yeah, you're not seeing that, and it's. I mean, I don't know how many times you can say it's just. I'm covering a different franchise than I covered the previous 24 years.
Yes, you are.
What's the schedule like this week? They play on Thursday night against the Packers.
Right.
Today's To Tell the Truth Monday, right? But what's the practice schedule, travel schedule for this week for the Commanders?
So practice tomorrow will be tomorrow's practice. This is where a sports writer everybody involved with this gets messed up because tomorrow's a Tuesday, but for them it's like a Wednesday. And then their Wednesday is like a Friday. So Tuesday will be a normal practice or just a practice. I don't know if it'll be normal, but it'll be a practice. Then Wednesday they'll have a practice at in the late morning. It will not be a long one because then you got to fly to Green Bay afterwards. So
right.
It's an abbreviated week. Now, one thing, Dan Quinn said this, that after the third preseason game and before that final week, like they could spend a little bit of time on Green Bay, and then you stop and you start preparing for the Giants, like with everything else, like they had before. But you could at least spend a little bit of time on that. I think that's one of the luxuries of playing a Thursday game in the second week. If you're playing it later, you don't have that luxury to do that. So that helps. But yeah, it's an abbreviated week, and it's, you see guys limping out of the locker room. It's like, you got to play a game on Thursday.
I know it's going to be tough in week
Not
2.
Easy.
Yeah. When will you fly up? You fly up with them?
Wednesday night. No, Wednesday night
okay.
I go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, John, good stuff.
Wisconsin, fellas. Appleton, Wisconsin.
That's right. Have fun.
Appreciate you joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, John.
It's John Keim, who joined us on the Rude Guest Hotline. Rude is the most reliable heating and air conditioning products in the DMV.
Will we talk to him Friday?
We might talk to him Friday. I got to coordinate with him. I think he said his flight's it might be a different time on Friday.
Yeah, we'll talk to him Friday.
We might talk to him on Friday.
That'll be good.
I can't believe we got a game in 3 days.
I know.
Crazy.
I know.
It's freaking crazy.
Have fun staying up.
Well, you know what that's like.
It'll be a fun week.
Did you stay up for the entire game last night?
Yeah, probably. The last time I looked at my clock, it was midnight.
Yeah.
Salty dog when you went to bed.
It's one of those
what are you
things.
gonna do? They're still explosive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you get D-Hop in the mix,
They're going to see
with the one-handed
They're going to
catch.
see each other again.
I have no Derrick Henry shares. I'm so dumb. I keep fading him because he's so old. He just never slows down. He's going to keep doing it until he's like 36 years old.
I was watching the game and I go, why did I take Genty instead of
Why did I
Derrick
take
Henry?
Devon Achane?
This
Genty over Henry.
This horse of a man that just...
He fell into the second round of basically almost every fantasy draft.
Crazy.
And I passed him twice in one league.
Ran for 2,100 yards, he's a billion touchdowns.
He's a super freak. He's a cyborg.
It's disrespect.
The disrespect of King Henry.
He's got creaky knees
King
or
Henry,
something.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's really good.
All right, can we hear from some people?
Hall of Famer.
I want to hear from some people about this game.
Got to take a break. Want to hear from Commanders fans. What impressed you the most about yesterday's win? Was it the running game? Was it the defensive line? The offensive line? The lines dominated. We'll take your calls next at 1-800-636-1067. Victory Monday here on The Fan.